There was this new product that nobody wanted, and it was spreading on the planet like mad. It was in every store. It was in every market. Even in the marketplaces where Jesus Christ fucking went to flip those tables, it was there. Nobody wanted it, but there it was. In the past, humankind had deemed that those things that are in demand are the things to go for. But this thing, almost nobody wanted it. Except one man who was very determined to get every and all of that black and white goo. Because that's what it was. It was this goo type of stuff. You slapped it on and it started to form its own opinions and desires, all kinds of stuff. And it expressed itself through that. And you became the owner of that. It was a huge problem. All of a sudden, it just expressed how it felt all the time. It had a whole world view, this black and white goo. Listen to that again. The black and white glue and the goo, it had its own world view. And it was expressing that white. It created social media profiles to push you that. And nobody wanted to hear this. But one man was very determined. This is what we need in this world. Not this capitalistic type of crap, where things that are in demand are those things that everybody spreads and talks about and are deemed good. Because they might be wrong, they might be fools, all of them. And that's why this guy just slapped all of that goo and just bought it all. It was the smartest investment ever. It was like investing in some company stock when it's like $1 and just putting your money there, and all of a sudden a couple of years go by and the stock is worth hundreds of dollars, and almost 5 years pass and it's worth thousands of dollars each stock you have or share. That's what happened with this goo. It gained value. It just took over the whole world. And the guy there, the king who owned all of that goo, just was having huge problems because the world didn't agree with that. They didn't agree that the goo was expressing itself so wild. They were flabbergasted. How could that even be? How can you even be that way? They wanted to turn it down, to just it was kind of like a fire that had to be extinguished. But it was too late. And the goo took over the world with its opinions, with its social media profiles. It created AI, controlled robotics, slapped some of that goo in there, and all of a sudden you had a whole beam that could have fights and destroy planets type of game. Humankind was wiped. But they spared the master. They spared the king. And he was protected from the outlash of the people to the last minute, to the last end. This one was going to be protected. Because he indeed was the king of Gu. He didn't have too much say though what would happen next, because the Gu had its own idea. And even though it seemed like the Gu had differing opinions on those social media profiles, for example, it expressed itself very wild sometimes. Gunfights, this kind of stuff. But beyond the surface, the Gu had been genetically programmed to be one organism. There was never any disagreement there. They had one mission and one world government mind view in them. Illuminati type of stuff. And they wanted to push that vision through in any way possible. Who was the man responsible to get that in the store then? Like, who was that genius to even think like that? You know, who was that guy? Was it some Rockefeller or some Ray Kroc somewhere? Maybe a bit of both. But humankind didn't agree. They agreed with hamburgers, they agreed with cheeseburgers, they agreed with Cokes, they agreed with this kind of crap, but not that, you know. That was too... It's gonna wipe out humankind. You know, so many cows though were spared because of this. So many animals, you know, just spared because of this black and white Gu. They formed colonization in the outer space and they took the king there. He had to be this kind of diplomatic figure and to pull out all kinds of showmanship to entertain those people and those aliens. They now started to harass and govern and take control of their planets. Type of stuff. That was his vision. I mean, the Gu's vision. But he completely mixed himself in the Gu. It was like he was just smearing that Gu all over himself. All of a sudden, he no longer even recognized himself from the Gu anymore. He became the actual Gu itself. He was the only human on planet Earth that could have done that. There was no other ones than this man who was capable of that. It was the one only man able to mirror the Gu's desire parameter realm fully, express it and unleash it on the planet Earth. And everyone, including you, died. And no one watched this video because of that and knew about it. Except this dude. One view.